Hi everyone, and welcome to the AhReWriter channel. My name is Ari, and today I'm ready to cook. As you guys can see, I've got a lot of things prepared. I've got some beautiful eye round steak. So it's going to be a little bit different from the stream that I did where I cooked some lamb shoulders. There's no bone in this one, and there is a strip of fat at the bottom here that we may probably either cut off or just have in very small increments. But it should be really delicious and just full of flavor. And it was only about $9 for two of those, so not bad at all. First thing we're going to be doing is I've got this beautiful little kettle here, and when you turn it on, it glows. So the beautiful glow. So I'm going to move it up a little bit so you guys can see it, and look at that. Beautiful. So I'm going to be making myself some ginger turmeric tea. So I'm going to be doing that. While that's getting ready, I do have my lemon press right here. So I'll move that forward just a little bit so you guys can still see this beautiful little glow right here. And I'm going to cut my lemon wedges. We're going to get some lemon squeezed, and we're going to put a little bit of this onto our beautiful steak. So I'll be cutting the lemon meanwhile. All I have to do is cut them dead center. Just make sure I don't cut myself while I do this. There we go. Nice and simple. And let's see if I can get it right on through, halfway. A beautiful knife. Excellent. Here's how I hold my knife. I learned from the masters. You got to hold a little bit in the metal part here and get some good grip here. So I'm going to make sure I get it done nice and right. And then this part over here you hold like this, from what I've learned. When I was younger, I never did that. This doesn't come natural to me. So that's okay, I'm learning. And now that I'm about 33 years old, I'm trying to get a lot better at this kind of stuff. So first thing I'm going to do is rinse my knife. Make sure that we get rid of that lemon acidic stuff off of it as soon as possible. And then I'm just going to leave it facing away from me on the cutting board. And I'll be doing some garlic a little bit later. Firstly, while that water boils, let's get these lemons squeezed. I've got my container right here, and of course the small container to catch it initially is ready to go. Put a lemon in and squeeze her down. You guys saw me doing this during the stream, so it was a lot of fun. Nice and therapeutic, and I thought, you know what, let's make a little video about it. Why not, right? So, got my first lemon squeezed. What a smell, amazing. I'm going to be doing what I did on stream, putting these guys in the dishwasher for about maybe 12 hours, 24 hours at the most. So that way it'll give a nice, beautiful scent to the dishwasher, and in my drying rack and in the garbage as well, to keep the garbage from getting too smelly as well. So that should be quite nice. All right. And there it is. The water is going to start boiling. It'll be a little bit loud, so I think you guys can still hear me, right? I tested audio before this. The audio is coming directly from my phone this time. On the stream, we actually had my PC microphone connected through a very long extension cable. And it worked pretty well, except that I noticed that it did pick up audio in a cone. So it looks like the foam is a little bit more generalized. So it should be quite nice. All right, now after about 3 lemon halves, amazing, I love this smell. After about 3 lemon halves, I'm gonna take what's inside of the small container and basically move it into the larger one below. This is also my spill container, trying not to make a mess. So perfect. About 3 of these almost fills up an entire one of these. Delicious. Now, there's one more thing I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be straining the pulp out of this. There's a lot of pulp and there could be small seeds as well. So I'm actually going to do it right now. I can actually position my beautiful small strainer right there. And, whoa, look at that. Beautiful. And we'll get rid of all the pulp later. I'm not a big fan of pulp, but it's not a big deal. Pulp isn't so bad for you, right? All right, so let me get this guy back into position. We're almost done with the wedges. I've let the steak sit out so far for about half an hour. And that's because you don't want the steak to be cold when you cook it initially. It may not cook on the inside, and the outside may get too burnt too fast. So I am definitely gonna let it sit, and I'm gonna finish up my prep here. I've also gotta get some Cuban oregano for my garden over there. Amazing. So I'm definitely gonna get that ready. Sadly, I don't have an onion today. An onion would go well with red meat in general. The sweet onions are my favorite, but white onions are good. Red onions are nice in general as well. So yeah, don't really have an onion today, but that's okay. We're gonna have Cuban oregano and or Mexican mint. It's the same thing, it depends on where you get it from. And some garlic. So I do have a lovely head of garlic right here. We're gonna get that ready quite soon. I think that I have room for more. Yep, 1 more half. And look at that, the water is bubbling and boiling. So we're gonna pour that water for my tea and have a great time. Perfect, this is looking great. May as well put a few more in here. think I'll put 2 in the garbage. That should be perfect. Look at that. 3 in the dishwasher, 3 in my cutting board section. Fantastic. And while the water is still boiling hot, I shall pour. And here is your pour, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic. Look at that. A beautiful, oh, excuse me, beautiful, beautiful pour. I forgot about honey. Usually I put honey in first, but it's okay. Water is boiling hot, so I'm going to put honey in right now. Just a nice little squiggle of it. There we go. That should be more than enough. Perfect. And now I just have to mix immediately. Honey requires mixing with very, very hot water or else it pools at the bottom. So definitely going to be mixing this guy quite nicely. I'll leave the tea bag to seep in there for probably 10-15 minutes. And, you know, while the tea is cooling down, may as well. The longer it sits in there, the more flavorful it gets. So may as well let it sit there for as long as I want to. All right. Some people like their tea a little bit lighter, and some people like to share tea bags with, you know, their significant others, friends, family. So about 5-10 minutes is usually all you really need to get some good flavor. Then you can share the rest with somebody and save on tea bags. You don't have to have 1 tea bag per person. All right, that is pretty much mixed. So I am going to leave that in the corner to chill while I engage in a bit of a thrill, as they say. All right, let's get some more lemon juice, but I already filled this one up. I put about 3 in here. So let us get more of that pulp sifted through. And the container is looking great, about halfway filled. Like I said in my stream, I use the lemon juice in the morning. I just put maybe 3-4 teaspoons of lemon juice into my water. Just a nice cup of water, maybe a cup and a half of water. And basically it tastes really, really nice and it's really, really good for you. So great way to start the morning. I can't stop smelling this. All right, 1 lemon wedge in the garbage. And the last one will now get squeezed. And about 4 lemons is usually all I need to last me, I don't know, about 2 weeks worth, I'd say, of drinking a bit of lemon juice every day. I'm also going to be pouring some lemon onto the steak today to enhance its flavor near the end. So it should be really, really delicious. But we're going to do that after the steak cools down naturally. I'm also going to be putting some salt and pepper on the steak before cooking, of course. I usually don't need to salt my steak at all. I usually just use whatever spices I've got. But today, things like rosemary, I have a bit of garlic left, and I have a good amount of Mrs. Dash left just for the steak, and we have some pepper as well. So everything should be looking fantastic. Let me get all these spices in position, make sure that the Mrs. Dash is not too clumped up. I'm almost out, as you guys can see. There we go, that should be perfect. And let me get these guys over here. Good. The tea is looking great. I'll mix it a little bit more just because I can. Let it seep in there. Beautiful. All right, this boiling water can go back a little bit out of the way. And let me get the rest of this lemon juice sifted. Beautiful. Now there's a lot of pulp in there. I'm going to make sure that I pull this out, but I don't want it to drip, so let me put that back. I'm going to make sure that I get as much of the lemon juice itself out of here. There's a lot of juice that kind of sits with that pulp. And now look at that, I have this solid chunk of pulp in here. So into the sink you go. Although I could have put it in my garbage, but that's okay. All right, so now I'm just gonna quickly use my little power washer to make sure that I get rid of this lemon as soon as possible. Do not want it to sit here. I'm also gonna clean my lemon press as soon as we're done recording. So that way it should be good to go. Although I could clean it right now. I don't know, would that be fun for the video? You know, I probably should. So look how cool this is. I'll actually disassemble it and show you guys. I may as well show you how easy it is to clean. So it comes out into 3 parts besides the container at the bottom. The other 2 are right here. All you have to do is put it upside down and twist it until it comes out of the grooves. And then a nice quick rinse is good. And while the lemon is cold and fresh, it just really flies out really easy and does not pool in. So that's quite nice. Now this part here, I'm gonna make sure I really get most of that stuff out of there. Do not want to leave the lemon in here to get sticky and icky, as they say. But yes, this will be fantastic. Let's get rid of all of that. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. All right, that's good. I don't really see much lemon in there anymore. A little bit of lemon makes medicine go down, right? Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. Next time you take some medicine, put a little bit of lemon in there. All right, and now I'm going to rinse this guy, this cup out. Use my finger as well, make sure there isn't anything really sticking down there, but not a big deal. It's all clean, all good, clean fun. Fantastic. Now, we have got all that ready to go. I believe now it's time to cut the garlic, and I also need to get some Cuban oregano. So I'll probably do that off camera and cut to that part. Will I do that now? The answer is yes. So I will be right back. All right, I am back, ladies and gents. I got my beautiful Cuban oregano leaves looking really, really nice and fresh and frisky. I'm gonna be rinsing them. Let me just take these scissors and also give them a little bit of a rinse. They could have some cell wall and phytoplasm inside of them. Don't want too much of that. Not to stay on the scissors for a while, anyway. So, we're now gonna rinse these leaves. And I also notice that on this leaf on the left, there's a little bit of a darker edge that got a little burnt in the sun. So I'm gonna be cutting that off. There's no need to consume it. And these are massive leaves. Look how beautiful and big they are. I mean, I have a really, really great plant there that has some massive ones that I'm trying to get rid of because they're way too old and way too mature. And I definitely want to consume them before they go bad. So, oh, fantastic. Usually the medium leaves are all I need, but this plant is thriving, I'll tell you what. So, I'm going to take these, I'm going to put them on top of each other. Let me trim off a little bit of the bad stuff here. I think I'm just going to take off the entire top. Fantastic. And the rest of this is looking great. So, let me keep that in the corner, and let's now begin cutting. Oops, I have some stuff on the knife. Let me make sure that it's all clean. Fantastic. I'm also going to move this guy out of the way because I know it blocks the camera view a little bit. Move this a little closer. We can move that over here. One thing that I'm also going to do as well is not forget that sometimes there's a bit of lemon that gets stuck in this top part. So definitely want to clean that up because it gets some of the zest stuck in there and you don't want it to, you know, grow any kind of moldy stuff. Yeah. All right, fantastic. So that is ready to go. Let me start cutting. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the stem and cut right around there. The stem goes into the trash pile, and the rest is history. So all you need to do is very, very thinly cut this. So as thin as you want. It doesn't have to be too thin, too thick. And try not to let it get stuck to the knife. I'm just going to keep it in place because eventually I'm going to be cutting it long ways and cutting it into little cubes. So that should be beautiful. And a nice slice like that is good, but just try not to move it too much. There we go. If it moves, it's okay. It doesn't have to be so perfect. There we go. Beautiful. And the reason why we hold our hands like this is to prevent ourselves from cutting ourselves. So we actually want the knife to kind of either touch the knuckle up here or be close to it. And that way you prevent yourself from cutting the tips of your fingers off. So, little chef trick. All right, that's looking good. I'm now going to cut this way. Beautiful. And this knife is one of my favorites. It's my large knife. I have a smaller one that's good for veggies that has little grooves in the metal. And that allows the veggies to kind of fall off. So I typically use that for this purpose, but the big one works pretty well. They get a little stuck to it sometimes, especially when there's water on the knife, but that's okay. Perhaps I could have dried the knife, but that's all right. This actually came out really, really nice. I now have a bunch of these guys. I'm gonna mix them up, break them down a little bit, because sometimes the knife doesn't quite cut all the way through, because I'm not perfect. So I'm just going to make sure that we have a nice little green salad going on here. Beautiful. Now let me get a bowl to put these in. And that way we have the cutting board for the rest. So I'll go in here, get a bowl. Let us put this over here. And I have a little trash pile that I'm going to get rid of quite soon. But first I'll start on the garlic. The garlic is going to be fantastic. Okay. Very, very good. Let me get rid of a little bit of this extra gunk on here. Beautiful. And a little piece of hair. Uh-oh. That one's mine. I have kind of short hair. Oh, and there's some lemon stuff that got spilled over here. I don't want it to stick onto the metal here for too long, so I'm going to put it right on through to the other side. Break on through. Break on through. All right, perfect. Also going to move this a little bit. Perfect. We have our Cuban oregano ready, we got spices ready. The meat is still pretty darn cold, so I've had it out here for about 40 minutes or so. I think I've been recording for about 12, 13, 14 minutes. Crazy, you know? So you definitely want that to stay in room temperature and to warm up a bit. I mean, if I have to, I'll put it in the microwave for 5 seconds, you know? So, but it should be fine. It doesn't have to be so room temperature, but the less cold the better. So we cut the garlic how? We have the bottom part, which is going to be really, really tough to cut, so we're not going to bother. We're just going to cut the top. And so I'm just going to cut a nice, generous amount of the top off. I'm not going to get all of the tips of the garlic, but I got about half of them. So now this part goes in my garbage pile, and here we go. So let me just get some of this off of here. We're gonna get ready, because the garlic is the most time-consuming part, and that's why I think that we'll have plenty of time to let that guy get to room temperature. So now with my hands, all I need to do is start breaking up the garlic out of here, because it just kind of pops off of the bottom. It's stuck to the root part, so that's fine. So we're gonna take it out. It won't take me too long. Gonna get her out of there and see what we got. You guys can see the whole cooking process from start to finish and see how long it takes to make quite a nice, delicious balanced meal. Obviously, you have to have some ingredients on hand, but you know, going to the grocery store, you know, we all got to do it about once or twice a week. You know, well, once a week or once every 2 weeks. You know, that's how it is for me as a single guy. If I had somebody else, and if I had a family, then maybe it would take a little bit longer. There we go. Almost got it all out, and I'm getting all those big chunks of skin. Whoops. There he goes. Luckily, the skin hit the ground. And 5-second rule. Apparently, it takes a little bit longer for bacteria to get on top of stuff, so you can kind of quickly take stuff off the ground, blow off any dust or grime that got stuck to it. And luckily, because the skin is on here, I'm not concerned at all about that. Fantastic. But I'm typically a clean guy that is not even off the floor, I'll tell you what. All right, fantastic. So we're going to do this and that. This is almost done, and boom. And there is the garlic root by itself. It's like a little flower. It's beautiful. Okay, let me get these guys separated. And I'm going to now take all of this extra gunk, the large chunks of skin, and put them in the trash along with my Cuban oregano stems and bits. All right, perfect. And now we're basically ready to get this garlic going. All right. So how it works with the garlic is you have a few ways of doing this. The first thing I'm going to do is cut off the end that was closest to the stem itself, because that part is a little bit gross and icky. So it looks like my knife is perfect. We're going to just basically get that done with all of our garlics. So I'll put that into a pile, and make sure you cut the right side. Very good. And as long as I don't keep my fingers too close, I should be okay. And perfect. Yeah, garlic is my favorite spice of all time. I will tell you guys what. It is such a special spice. It just tastes so good. And to be honest with you, I love my breath after I have some garlic. Maybe I wouldn't like somebody else's breath as much, but you know, it's kind of like the old adage of, you know, we like our own smells of ourselves, but not necessarily the same smell from somebody else, you know. I'm not going to get too graphic on that, because we are making food. And I am making this video to stimulate your appetite. I actually love to watch different cooking videos while I am eating lunch. Almost every day when I have lunch, I put on a video of somebody making something. And the guy that I'm actually very fond of is Brian Lagerstrom. You guys can check him out. He's one of my favorites, and I've seen a lot of his videos so far. I've been watching him for nearly a year now. And he's great. He definitely you know, changes his style a little bit here and there and does different kinds of things, whether it's cooking or talking about, you know, kitchen tools, or even just trying new foods at different places. So he's excellent. And I also appreciate the fact that he works well with his, I believe, girlfriend. I don't know if they're married, but Lauren is her name, and she's excellent. So it's also fun to see her, you know, eating his food and, you know, asking good questions. When he does the Q&A sessions, you know, she's there. So it's quite interesting. All right, fantastic. Yeah, shout outs to Brian Lagerstrom, eh? All right, fantastic. So now what we're going to do with the garlic, now that it's all been cut, is we're going to start to smush it. And that way, we can actually easily unpeel it, because right now it's going to take me forever to unpeel if I just try. So instead, I'm just going to smush it with about, you know, a good amount of force until I hear a bit of a crack, you know, a bit of a crunch. There we go. Not too much, not too little. And it should be perfect. Once I do this, I'm loosening the skin. There we go. And it makes it easy. Perfect. That's a nice one. And there's probably some smaller cloves that are kind of stuck with other larger ones. Here's a clump right here, for example. This is also going to separate them and loosen them up a little bit. Excellent. Ooh, I feel my tricep getting a little bit tense when I do this. Definitely uses some muscles. So you want to be careful not to get yourself too tight. Good. Ooh, that was a good crunch. Very good. And just make sure you don't cut yourself when you do this. You can keep your, you know, palm on the knife and then hand up. That's the way we like to cook. Anyway, fantastic. So there they are, all smushed. And now all I have to do is start peeling. So let's see how easy it is to peel now. All I have to do is take that head that I cut off and kind of peel with it. And then I just have to get a little grip on the sides of one end, and look at this. It just comes right off. And within about seconds, that is a perfectly peeled garlic, no skin on it. So, that's number one. Let's continue. Ah, yes, but yeah, I definitely like to watch cooking shows and cooking things while I'm eating. It stimulates the appetite, and especially when different content creators, they show themselves going to restaurants and eating delicious food. That's good enough for me too. So, quite nice to watch that. Quite satisfying. All right, this one I definitely smushed a lot, but that's good. The garlic is going to be cut into little slivers once we're done peeling it. And it doesn't matter if it's perfect, because it's all going to be devoured anyway. I am excited and I am hungry. I will tell you guys what, I am ready to eat. It's going to be quite a feast. And I'll show you guys everything close up once we actually get it all finished. But for now, you guys got a bird's eye view of my entire process. All right, fantastic. And yeah, doing the stream of this was quite fun. I had a lot of good vibes, good times. And I learned a lot from that stream too. I actually learned from my friend Elaine that when you cut stems off of food, off of plants, you want to cut them diagonally, not necessarily straight on. Apparently that promotes growth of the plant and doesn't stagnate it. And I actually know firsthand that she's correct, at least in the opposite end, because the way that I've been cutting them before, which is usually straight on, would make it so that the plant, oddly enough, would kind of not grow from that section, and then close to it, it would also never grow, but sometimes there would be some stems that would grow from that base. So it wasn't the worst. The plant would still grow, and I've been growing plants for over 5 years now, very successfully, but now I've improved and I have an even better tip. So thanks again to Elaine for that. All right, we are halfway done with these. We just have a few more left. Meanwhile, our meat is definitely getting to a beautiful room temperature. Now, some of these heads, including this one, have this part here that was too short for me to cut. So when I initially cut that first bit off, this one didn't get cut. So I'm going to make it easy on myself and cut that off as well. And I have a few others here that I'm going to do the same. So that one, and this one. Yeah, these guys were a bit short, so I'm going to make that a little easy for myself. And it looks like the rest were cut beautifully. Perfect. So now that I've done that, let's continue. Oh yeah, peel down and then peel to the side, and that's it. And it comes off just like butter. I'll tell you what, this comes off like a good chunk of butter. Speaking of butter, we're going to be using garlic butter in order to enhance the flavor of the meat. I do that after the initial side cook for about 4 or 5 minutes-ish or less, and then flip, and then basically after that part is done, the second side, of course, I'll flip it and put some good old garlic butter on. Just a little bit, just a little bit. Butter isn't the healthiest for you, but I'll tell you what, it tastes darn good. So yes, we are looking great here. Garlic is peeling so nicely. Here's a huge bunch. I'll get to it a little bit later. Let me get the easy ones first, and then that one is going to require a little bit of finesse. Yes. Yes, the chef is in the house. Ooh, this one's a tough one. I didn't quite smush it enough, so I'm going to give it a bit of a, oh yeah, perfect. Makes it 10 million times easier when you give it a little bit of a smush and a gush. Perfect. This is another bunch as well. Oh, let me get the small one first. Perfect, and we are almost done with the most tedious part of this preparation process, but not so bad and very worth it. I mean, garlic is not only very tasty according to my taste buds, but very, very healthy. So it has a lot of medicinal properties, and you guys can look up all the details on that a little bit later. All right, I am going to get this little bunch here. We have 3 in here. And let's see how easily I can get that. I'm going to have to smush these as well. They didn't quite get enough of a smush and a gush, and that's okay. So let me see if I can get that guy separated. Ooh, that one came out perfect. Nice. There's no skin on you, right? Yeah, very, very good. And then we're going to get this guy done. Perfect. Oh, this one's beautiful. It's got a cool shape to it, too. All right, so this little guy, we're going to smush it. Nice. And now we're going to, oh, there's a little part I can cut. Beautiful. And that's it, and we basically alternate between different modes of access. Ah, came out like butter, also came out like butter, and the last one, ladies and gents, how easy is it going to be? Oh my god, is it coming out like butter? No, this one needs a bit of a cut, and maybe a bit of a smush as well. Let's do it. A little bit of a cut, a little bit of a smush, perfect, and let's peel from that cut area down, and then sideways, and there she is. Perfect. Not too bad, not too bad. We didn't take too much time doing that. Very, very good. I'm gonna get all of this gunk tossed away, and I think that the meat is basically ready to rumble. It's pretty close. So it's been, warming up a little bit. All right. Let's take all that off. Fantastic. And I think that we're looking good. We do have to cut the garlic in slivers. So I'm going to be doing that right now. All right, I'm also going to rinse my hands off. There's little bits of garlic skin that are basically stuck to me. So I'm going to do that. And the garlic can get sticky, especially if you touch the inside of the garlic, which is quite interesting, quite viscous. Yes. All right, ladies and gents, we're looking great here. Cuban oregano is in place. Let's do it. Firstly, I'm gonna wash my hands. And then we're gonna get right to it. Look at that beautiful lemon juice. I'm gonna actually put that in the fridge right now. But you know what? I think I'll have it ready for the steak, and it's good to have it not too cold. So I'm actually gonna leave it as is. I'll put its lid loosely on top of it in just a second. Let me just get all this ready to go. Perfect. Loosey and goosey. Out of the way. Perfect. All right, let's get this garlic cut. So it's very simple. You just cut into slivers, and it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just cutting them so that they cook evenly once we cook them. And they don't need much time either. They just need about maybe 2-3 minutes, and they're gonna get really, really nice. And right now when they're raw, they can be a little bit bitter, although I personally don't mind the flavor. And if you see any green stems that come out of fresh garlic, you can actually eat them raw. And in my opinion, they taste fantastic, and they're not too bitter at all. They're quite scrumptious, diddly-umptious. All right, fantastic. We're gonna get that cut. Ah, man, the joy of cooking. Such a nice, relaxing thing. And you spend what, maybe half an hour, hour total, depending on what you're making. And it's all worth it in the end. And you save some money overall because buying the ingredients here was not too expensive. I mean, about $9 for the steak. Cuban oregano I've been growing here for years, and I got a stem from a friend a long time ago, so that was free basically. All I had to do was buy the pots, the soil, and some rocks to keep the soil from falling through the little hole at the bottom, the little drainage hole, and then there's rocks at the top as well to keep the soil from spilling over every time I water them. And I put a little bit of fertilizer in them when I initially planted them, so that's always nice. So little things like that. Over time, I think they pay for themselves, right? And then, so not too expensive. And then the lemons weren't so bad. All right, fantastic. We're about halfway done cutting these guys. We have a lot of garlic here, so it's going to be a really, really beautiful thing. And what we're going to do is, as soon as the steak is done cooking, we're going to be putting the Cuban oregano on top of it, along with some spices, to allow the Cuban oregano to get a little bit of a cook into it, but not too much. You never really want to put this stuff on fire because it burns quite easily. But having it raw isn't incredible. So it is nice to give it a bit of a cook on hot food. So whenever you use Cuban oregano, just put it on some hot food. Whether you microwave the food or you're cooking it like now, either way is fine. All right, almost done. Let's see if I can do 2 at a time. Maybe I'm quite skilled. I can. Ooh, nice. And, oh yeah. The end parts are always tough, so I kind of rotate them 180 degrees. And I keep the thicker part closer to my finger and the smaller, thinner part farther away. It makes it easier for me, at least, when I cut. And I am not the best at cutting. As you guys can see, I'm a very slow, inefficient cutter. And that's okay. I am trying my best. All right, almost done. The last one. He's ready for us. 1 and 2. And those are good. Perfect. Actually, that's a bit thick. I can cut that right. Beautiful. All right, ladies and gents. We have got our garlic ready to rumble. It is beautiful. It is roughly the same size and thickness. I think we're ready to go. I can already see that these guys are actually releasing a little bit of blood. That means that they are definitely warming up a bit. That's good. Still a little chilly, oddly enough, and they've been out for maybe 50 minutes. So definitely let your meat sit out for even an hour, more, an hour and a half. Doesn't hurt, right? So let's get some light on the subject. I'm now going to turn on the heat. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using 2 different kinds of oil. Avocado oil for the meat and olive oil for the garlic. Because olive oil has a lower cook point. So for the garlic, it's great because it's not going to be in there too long, and we keep the number dial on about 7, which is a little bit like above average, like medium-ish heat. 8 is medium-high, and then high is high. That's how my dial works, at least on my oven. So, avocado oil is perfect for things that need a bit higher temperature. So I'm going to be keeping the dial on 8 while I cook these guys. So for now on high to preheat. And you want to put the oil on after the pan is basically rip-roaring hot. So we're going to wait about a couple minutes. What I'm also going to do, here's a fun little technique. While it's getting hot, these guys are not quite room temperature yet. So I'm actually going to be placing them close to the pan. And I'm going to get it so that these guys are basically going to be closer to room temp through a little bit of heat transference, as they say. Very nice. So I don't want to put plastic on heat, but plastic close to heat is quite nice. And then I also need to spice these guys up. So let me do that while the pan is getting hot. And we'll do that very, very quick. Make sure to wash your hands after touching raw meat and don't touch much of anything else. There we go. Right now, me touching all this stuff is not ideal, but what can you do? You gotta do what you gotta do. All right, fantastic. Now, I'm gonna be spicing these guys up. Let me wash my hands very quickly before I touch my peppermill. And the rosemary is actually going to be put in with the garlic at the end. And I'm gonna give the rosemary a bit of a cook. It's dried rosemary, so it doesn't really need much time. I'm gonna put the garlic in first, then about a minute or two after the garlic is in, I put the rosemary right at the end, just for a bit more flavor. And it's a great vegetable, very healthy for you too. All right, so I actually do have salt, which I rarely use, but I do have it. And it is pink Himalayan salt. So we're gonna do that first. We're gonna just get a bit of salt on here. Whoops, there's actually a little bit of plastic that can come off quite nicely. Yeah. That's okay. Let me rinse my hand off. That should be fine. Wasn't too bloody. All right, so let's get this on. Just a little bit of salt, but the salt can help a little bit with the cooking process overall. So, pan is definitely getting ready. Pan is very, very hot, but the hotter the better. So we're gonna let that pan sit there a little bit. And we're basically gonna salt and pepper both sides of this. So I will have to wash my hands again, but that's okay. Whoops. Let us get to it. My tea is probably ready to go as well, so I'm going to try it while it's still hot, although hopefully it doesn't burn me. But yeah, there we go. Nice, juicy amount of pepper on here. Excellent. Very, very good. All right, I'll use my hand to quickly flip these guys. And while I'm here, I may want to take this paper thing out of here as well. It kind of prevents them from sticking, but right now it's not so bad. So may as well get rid of this. Fantastic. All right, let me wash my hands one more time. And I think while I do this, I'm also going to have a bit of a drink. I've gotten into these hard seltzers recently. I really, really like how light they are, and they have great flavors to them. So the White Claw Surge is what I'm going to be having now. 8% alcohol, which is quite nice compared to the 5% variants, and most hard seltzers like 4.5, 5%. So quite impressed with the alcohol content. That is smoking. Woohoo! All right, well, I'm actually going to turn that off for a second because I'm not quite ready. Woo! Awesome. That is a hot pan, I'll tell you what. It's good because I'm getting rid of any impurities, and I'll put the oil on very soon. Let me rinse the top of this little cup right here, and I'm going to open this up. Ah, fantastic. All right, let me put a little bit of salt on here while I multitask. There we go. Just a little bit. For today's stream, we may as well, right? I actually used to avoid salt all entirely for about 3 years, at least, maybe even 4 years. And I still kind of do, because I had high blood pressure about 4 years ago. My blood pressure was 156/98, and I felt a pain in the back right of my head. So I basically avoided salt and alcohol, stopped drinking whiskey and rum, and basically my life changed. So. Oh, it's great. Now my blood pressure is in the 120s/80s, where it's supposed to be. And it's fantastic. Didn't need to take any medicine. Just basically took care of myself and exercised more. And I really enjoyed it. It was wonderful. It was a good process and a good learning experience that hopefully, luckily, did not hurt me in any way. So I got very lucky. But that pain in the back right of my head was probably a blood clot. Very scary. The meat's ready. The pan's hot. It is very hot. So back to high heat. Put our oil in, and let's do this. Just a little bit of oil, and we're just going to squiggle it around. Perfect. Make sure that the whole pan is coated. Ooh, sizzle. All right, we just have to be careful. I have a cover here to help us. I like to steam the meat as well. So that is so hot, and I'm going to set it to 8 already. Use my tongs, and let's do this. So we're going to get our first one in. The other one needs to go in quickly. That's the sound you want to hear. You want to hear that sizzle. Let me put this like that. Nice. Awesome. These guys are looking amazing. You don't want to move them too much when you initially put them in, because if you do, then the meat is going to kind of rip and tear. So you want to be careful. Perfect. All right. Now all I need is a paper towel. Put the tongs on when I'm not using them. And we look at the time. It's about 6:55 p.m. I would say about 3 minutes, 4 minutes on each side. Not so bad. These have a good amount of thickness to them, so we definitely want to be liberal with how long we cook them and not be too quick to take them and flip them. So we want to make sure that we get a nice, I would say, medium. You know, medium rare is fine. I like medium, personally. I used to like medium rare a lot more when I was younger. Now I like the steak to be a little bit more cooked. So I'm looking for that pink on the inside. Not red, I don't want it to be raw. And if it's less than pink and it's going more to the gray area, you're more towards the medium well. It's not the end of the world, but you definitely want to aim for the middle, in my opinion. Let's also try the teeth. And I can also tell that it's ready to flip by the color of the steak itself. The color of the whole thing is starting to change to basically no more pink. It's starting to get gray because I'm steaming it, so it's fantastic. Let me put this tea bag into the trash. It's been steeping for at least 20 minutes. Fantastic. Let's try the ginger turmeric tea. Here we go. Oh, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Just a nice light tea, and a little bit of honey goes a long way. All right, let me get my spices organized over here. Let me get myself ready. That is close to being ready to flip. It's only been about 1.5 minutes, to be honest with you. I'm tempted, and I can see all the smoke coming off. So I'm thinking maybe I should flip it. So let's see. Am I jumping the gun here? Who knows? Well, I'll take a swig and I'll think that maybe when it flips to 6:57, it should not be burnt and it should be perfect. Getting close. All right, I'm going to take off the cover at least. Let me look at this. Boom. Wow. Oh, yeah. Woo! Look at that. Beautiful. Oh, no. All that smoke is going to hit the fire alarm. Oh, God. Let me open the door. Oh, no. Oh, gosh darn. 1 second, guys. Yeah, let me just keep that ajar. I have a better idea. Oh. Let me open a window after I flip these. I think they're about ready to be flipped. Look at that color on them, see? And then boom, look at the color right now. Beautiful. So beautiful. That is amazing. I'm going to set the temperature to 7. I'm going to quickly open a window. I'll be right back. Let me open it over here. Oh my God. Wow. Well, I'm back, guys. You guys can't see it, but it is smoky in here. That is nearly done. I'm actually going to turn the heat off. And I think it's time for the amazing garlic butter. I recently ran out, so I have a brand new little stick of it. All you need is a butter knife. And I'm going to cut just a little bit. Just a little bit. Oh, just a little bit. Oh, yeah, I do not want the fire alarm to trigger. But I should be okay. Oh, yeah. If it does, it does. I got a window open in the back over there. So, good enough for me. My plants are in the way, so I had to move one of the plant tables out of it. Oh. Ay. All right, fantastic. And yeah, that is definitely ready. So, let me take this cover off. Take off the extra oil on the actual lid. Set it aside. Heat's off, which is good. I'm going to look and see. I think that this could be perfect. Wow, it's amazing. Boom. And boom. Gorgeous. Let me put some garlic butter on. Not a lot. I'm actually going to cut this little cube right here into 4s. And that way we just have a little bit for each side. I'll do it with my own fingers. And sometimes you can use the knife as well to spread it. But here's what I do. What I do is I do spread it a little bit initially, but it's kind of stuck and clumpy. So I'm just going to move it a little bit just to get it a little bit everywhere. Then, heat's off, put on the lid, and only for like 15 seconds or less, I watch the butter as it melts because the lid makes it melt a lot faster. And then when it's about halfway melted, I move it on because now it's a lot more liquidy. So this is looking amazing. All right. Luckily the smoke seems to have dissipated a little bit. There's still a lot everywhere. Boom. That's it. So now I can move this around and it is beautiful. Look at that. Gorgeous garlic everywhere. Wow. Eye-round steaks. I get to try this once in a while because they're not always available in the organic section at my grocery store, but man, they're amazing. All right, so those are great. I'm gonna flip this now. Boom. Oh yeah, I can tell that these are gonna be medium, I think. They're gonna be really nice. They are not raw on the inside, I'll tell you what. It's gonna be great. Let me put these two little glops right on top. All right, fantastic. While that is in there, I'm gonna rinse my hands from some of this garlic. Put the rest of the garlic butter away, because I do not need that to the outside. Whoops, too much of a paper towel, but that's okay. I'll reuse this one for something else. Perfect. So we put this part in, nice, and then this part on top, and that is sealed. And all I have to do for the end is either flatten it again, and then fold it on itself, and that usually seals it quite nicely. So that is quite a sophisticated way of keeping it from getting exposed to the elements. It's also got this little butter section in the fridge, so this container is quite nice. That is done. Lid's been on for too long, but luckily it is okay because all that garlic butter is still all over the beautiful steak, and I can spread it a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, this is basically done. So I'm going to show you guys what it's like to basically put this on the plate. I'm going to put that on the plate, I think, close to where we are right here. So I want you guys to see this. Usually I put it over there. So let me move everything a little bit. Perfect. We're going to put it right there. And it's going to be fantastic. Then onions are next. But of course, Cuban oregano goes on as well. All right. So how this works is we have our serving plate, quite a large one. I'm going to leave my fork and my knife in the corner. Whoops, that's hot. Luckily I didn't burn myself. All right, here we go. This is it, eye-round steak. This is how it looks, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that, beautiful. And you could also take all these foods here and baste it, which I actually might do right now. A little bit of basting won't hurt, right? And this keeps the top of the steak moist. So a little bit of basting. Just basically take it with a glop of your spoon and just put it right on top. Beautiful. It's also going to go on top right now when I put it into the dish, so I shouldn't worry too much. Let me take my tongs, and let's put it in. Here we go. I like to do the hot side up first to let that cool a little bit, and then hot side up. Perfect. We're going to keep these centered because we're going to have a bunch of veggies that are going to go on top of it very soon. We're going to put all the juices on. Beautiful. Look at that. Delicious. Very nice. And relatively lean. You know, this is a red steak, so you don't want to have too much red meat in your life, but you know, once a week, once every 2 weeks, it ain't gonna hurt you. It's good protein, you know what I'm saying? Hey, got a bunch of amino acids, you know. All right, let's have some tea in celebration. And Cuban oregano needs to go on right now while it is very hot. It's the perfect time. So we just sprinkle a little bit of Cuban oregano right on there. Try not to spill on the sides, but it's okay if you do spill on the sides. The garlic and or onions, if you do have onions in your dish, are going to heat up the Cuban oregano as well and really make sure that it gets a nice cook. So I'm going to manually take the guys that spilled and put them on just to make sure. Spread them out, make sure they're not clumped too much on top of each other. It's not a big deal if they are, because you can definitely eat these raw. They don't have much of a flavor, they're just there as a nice little green addition. They're very mild. The smell of Cuban oregano is delicious. It is like a variation of mint, hence it's also called Mexican mint if you get it from Mexico. Amazing, absolutely an amazing smell. Very medicinal apparently, and good for clearing the sinuses amongst other things. So, okay, we did it, ladies and gentlemen. That is awesome. Now, I can put some more spices, not a bad idea. I'm gonna put the Mrs. Dash on top of the garlic once I get the garlic done. So I'm gonna just put a little bit more pepper. According to the chefs that I have seen and done some research on, they say that putting pepper and salt periodically throughout is good. I'm not gonna flip it. It already has enough spices on one side. I don't need both sides to be spiced. I'm not that crazy. But you guys can flip it if you want to. It's just that with the Cuban Oregano edition, you know. So I'm also gonna press these on here and make sure that they get a nice char. You can see that they're actually turning a bit darker than usual, which is amazing. Okay, and I won't forget the lemon juice, which I'll put on after I do the garlic. Garlic is gonna get done right now. Is there anything else? Rosemary, yes. So rosemary, we have that ready. Let's put the pan back onto the fire. Turn it on to about 7. Get some oil, because the pan is still very, very hot, so we can put the oil on almost immediately. I could have waited 30 seconds, you know, but it's not a big deal. And just a bit of olive oil should be nice. We can toss that around. Yep, the pan definitely cooled down a bit. That's okay. So I'm going to wait for it to get hot before I mix the oil around. Now, something that I usually do as well, because I'm a bit scared of my own technique, is I sometimes check and see, have I cooked the meat thoroughly? So I trust myself. I think I did a great job, and it was very, very hot in there. So once we're basically done with everything, and we also want to let the meat rest before we cut into it, technically. Once we're done, we're going to cut into it. We're going to see, did I do it? Did I get it cooked enough? Okay, now the heat is back. We are able to move this lovely oil around. Perfect. Let's put in the garlic right now. And I'm going to do that by using the cutting board like this. And there we go. Beautiful. Not too much time is needed, and we're going to put a little bit of rosemary relatively soon. Perfect. Okay, let's mix this up a little bit. I think that a lovely little spatula will do nicely. One of these guys. Very, very good. I've got 2 that I was using earlier today to make myself some eggs in the morning. I made myself a little bit of, I guess you could say it's like an omelet, but not really. More like just, you know, eggs on a pan, and you put them there for about 3 minutes on low, medium heat, like, you know, 7 or something like that. And then after about, you know, 2-3 minutes, yeah, flip it, and that's it. So it's as simple as that. All right, fantastic. I actually usually use 2 tongs, and I think I will. I'd rather do the 2-tong technique in order to really mix these properly, because I have a hard time just using the pan. So for me, I'm a big 2-tonger. I'm the 2-tong, back to back. 1993, 1994. Blockbuster video gaming champion and true international video gaming superstar. Good old Dr. Disrespect reference. Love that guy. He's one of my favorite content creators of all time. All right, we're gonna put a little bit of rosemary on, and let's just get a little bit on there. Perfect, a nice layer. We're just gonna give it a little bit of heat. Beautiful, that's all we needed. Wonderful, and I didn't forget, but I kind of did, garlic powder. Do I need it? A little bit on the steak won't hurt, right? So I'm gonna put a little bit of garlic powder on the steak and the Cuban oregano. Perfect. You know, we've already got real garlic, but you know, more is merry, you know. Okay, that is almost done, to be honest with you. I can see the nice char already happening. I'm going to mix this up, make sure the rosemary doesn't stick too much to the pan too long. And it is small, little dry pieces of rosemary, so oh, they smell so good when they get a little bit of cook on them, the rosemary. It's amazing. All right, that is basically done, but we're going to see. Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to leave it on there for another 30 seconds. Mix and mix. It ain't gonna hurt. Yeah, usually I do onions first and then garlic, but no onions today. You guys can see my stream and see how I cut onions. They're very easy. They don't take long at all to prepare. Heat off. Beautiful. That is gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. That is basically ready. Let's take a swig. And I think that it's time. Lemon juice is also ready. So, we take our spatula. We take our garlic and our rosemary. We're going to scrape her on. Beautiful, look at that. Gorgeous. And a little bit on this one. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, this is nice. A little bit of roasted garlic with some rosemary. The rosemary definitely stuck, so maybe a little bit more oil next time on my end would have been quite efficient, but that's okay. I think I'll be all right with what I got. Yeah, I'm able to scrape most of it off. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, and I will clean that very soon. Because while it's hot, it's easier to clean. When it cools down too much, it sticks to it. So we did it. Amazing. Now, before I do the lemon juice, the meat has rested for long enough. Usually 2, 3, 4 minutes is good enough. So I'm going to spread out the garlic. want to make sure that Cuban oregano is also getting that little extra bit of cook in with the garlic on top. So whatever garlic fell on the sides, I'm going to put it on. Not be too crazy, everything's fine. Doesn't have to be so perfect, but I may as well, you know. I'm going to make this look beautiful. All right, let's cut in the middle and see. The largest piece is the one on the right, so I'm going to make a nice incision right down the center. Here we go. Did I do it? It cuts nice. Oh yeah, it cuts easy. Look at that, just very minimal effort, and it goes right through. It's a nice sawing action. I have a serrated blade for this to make it easier. Wow, look at this. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. The perfect pink. Wow, I love that. A little bit of gray on the edges, pink on the inside. This is medium. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Everything worked out great in the end. Man, not overcooked either. It is close to being medium well. It is very close. So some would consider it medium well, but no. I mean, I see that pink on the center. Gorgeous. Now, since I did it for one end, I may as well do it for the other and just look at it. So, you know, that way it also allows the inside to kind of cool down. And so, you know, that way it doesn't stay too, you know, cold compared to the rest. Wow, look at that. Beautiful. Look at that little bit of a pink right there. It is definitely healthy and safe to consume. It is not raw whatsoever. So, I think that Chef Ramsay would be proud. All right, fantastic, everybody. We've done it. I believe that is it. Now, for the coup de grace, for the icing on the cake, we take our lid off and we put a little bit of lemon juice. Now, I'm going to do this with a spoon. I'm going to use a clean teaspoon, and I'm going to get this done. And as Slippy would say from Starbucks, I'm going to get this guy off me. And I love Slippy from Starbucks. He's so silly. 1 teaspoon per side. Ooh, look at this. Oh, this is going to give it an extra enhanced layer of flavor. And the lemon is so good for us. Oh, and the sauce down below is also getting some lemon. Oh, wonderful. 4 teaspoons of lemon on top of our steak. And there it is. Round steak. Complete. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Let me show you all a good close-up. And when this video is done, I'm taking a little bit of a picture. I'm tempted to take one right now, actually. So I may stop the video, but here, let me show you guys in the video. Look at that. Beautiful, eh? So yeah, let me take a beautiful photo of this. This is one of my favorite ones that I've made. So I will be right back. All right, ladies and gents, I've done it. I've got my little thumbnail for the video ready, and look at this. It's a beautiful, beautiful dish. I'm gonna try it now, and I hope that you guys enjoy it as much as I do if you're making it at home. All right, which piece will I take? Let me take from one of the meatier pieces, which is gonna be this one. I'm going to cut right on at the edge here. Oh, beautiful. Small bites do go a long way with steak, so we do not need to necessarily have such huge ones, so I'm going to cut this piece in half. It's also much more sophisticated, yes. All right, let me make sure I got a little bit of everything. I got some garlic pieces in there, and here we go. Wow. Wow. The lemon was really, really, really the key. It enhances the flavor in a subtle, supportive way. It's not too overpowering. Just a teaspoon for each little half piece. You can go even less if you want to. Wow. We did it. Wow, I'm happy. The aromatics of the rosemary, fantastic. Wow, wow, wow. We did it, guys. That is round steak. This has been the AhReWriter cooking for you all. Hopefully you guys enjoy this video. And I'll be doing this on stream again with different kinds of, oddities and things. So let me know if you guys have any suggestions. And it's time for me to have some dinner. So I'll see you guys later. Take care.